Fighting over high ground positioning is something you deal with in Overwatch, but it's never easily explained why. Controlling the sections of the map gives your side options for how to approach a fight, empowering individuals to make plays and establishing a formidable defense. So why do high grounds hold such a large stake in team success? Let's look at the pros and cons. For starters, the angles. When on equal ground, shields block not only the player wielding the shield, but also all the area behind it, making it impossible to hit backliners. But positioning on higher elevation sharpens that angle, giving you a better vantage point to hit those enemy backliners. 2. Sight lines. You'll have more of a top-down view of the battlefield, almost like a crow's nest, making it easier to see what's going on, especially where enemies are positioning as you pivot around, shooting targets. Another benefit is protection. These high ground positions are a pain for anyone given the limited access points, which teams can and will just wait for the opposing side to come up. However, heroes with vertical mobility can reach you like Winston here, but it's at the cost of their ability, potentially leaving them vulnerable without one of their escape options. The only other option they got is to poke from range, but still, enemies can't forcefully move you off high ground when most of these spots have some sort of cover to hide behind. What about cons? There really isn't anything bad that wouldn't come with similar risks if you played on low ground. The greatest risk is being alone on high ground with no shield to block bullets and divers who can land on you like a Goomba if you aren't careful. And we'll get into how to better protect yourself a little bit later. As a general rule, the default starting position should be on high ground, if you can of course. You want to control the map as much as possible, so every starting defense, after every team fight, look to take these areas. Against teams that don't know how to deal with bullets raining down on them, it can leave them stumped because of how overwhelming it can be. That's one of the most important features, crossfires. In order to win, you need to capture the objective, right? As some of your teammates try to capture or contest the payload, the point, every high ground is near the objective, but not on the objective. Meaning, while some enemies are looking at your teammates, they're also taking damage from the side, from you, on another angle. This double threat, sometimes triple threat, is part of the reason high grounds are important to any defense and attack. There are two other important questions you may have. When are high grounds bad? And how do you deal with enemies who have the high ground? High grounds are bad when you don't respect the enemy heroes and what they can do. Just being on them doesn't mean freeload, because the higher you move up in the ranks, the more these spots get contested. It is intuitive, but if a matchup is unfavorable to you, that's when you should drop. Still though, try to stay up there unless you have like a surefire excuse to drop. Utilizing cover is going to be the best thing to stop any damage coming your way, especially from Widow. Up against dives, playing closer to your team can get you that extra bit of help when being dove. And if you're reading their offense correctly and their attacking habits, if you're consistently being the target, maybe play on low ground so that when they do start to jump and fly towards you, grappling to seek refuge on high ground is a great way to outsmart your opponents. Next, how do you deal with enemies on high ground? How can you take it away from them? Individually speaking, dive tanks are the best designed to deal with one, sometimes two enemies at once given their raw defense stats. Initiating with ultimates is another simple way to swing the power in your team's favor, basically saying get out of the way or die. And perhaps the most passive way to deal with high grounds is to move cover to cover to eventually create point pressure by forcing enemies to drop off the high ground because they have to stop you from capturing the objective. Sometimes though, you can't do it all by yourself. The true answer is to play around your team, attacking together, and if you can, communicating a plan of attack to take the high ground. That's all I've got for this one. Thank you so much for watching. There will be a complete positioning guide in the future, or it may already be out, I don't know. It'll answer more of the questions of why certain positions are good, when to take them, etc. I am too taking in more VOD replays, so if you want to submit your own games to be reviewed, check out my Discord server in the link down in the description. Again, that's all I have for you. Until then, I'll see you when I see you. Peace.